fitted, hat low, incognito, living. Introvert, but she ain't timid. My art can be timeless. I don't do limits.
Just give
Be
me a
very
slogan
specific
on
when
that.
you talk on who the best is. How can I address this? Basically, the rest is almost like to me what a stage to a less is. You ain't dropped nothing in my eyes I'm impressed with. Please don't be offended, but I'm not in the business of pretending. I've got lines if you wanna get renting. Don't find the agony on and get venting. Stop flooding my mentions with bullshit, talking on Sims like she's someone you went to school with. From day been the cool kid, raps lost hope and faith I'm restoring. Don't ask my opinion on shit, cause to make you feel good about yourself is exhausting. I got bangers out in the world soaring, and I got bangers in the vault I've been hoarding. Yeah, true, I got tennis in the morning. Before I start swinging, that man's gonna need a warning. Red light whenever I'm recording. Red light on the forehead of
Yo,
We're going to listen. It would have kept going.
welcome, guys. Welcome back to another episode of the Grind Show.
Grind Show, yes, sir. You already know what it is.
Yeah, it's your two favorite hosts, your boy
T-Tank.
and
I'm
T-Tank.
first.
Oh, you first? Okay.
No, I'm just playing.
Well,
Go.
was
I'm
I
just playing. Go.
No, okay, T-Tank.
I just
We
playing.
got Tyler.
Yo.
Let me not get into the damn.
I mean,
I'm pumped up, guys.
it's better than sounding far away. So, like, that's better.
Okay.
Anyway, my other co-host, my co-host, you already know, St. Jones. He gave himself another nickname before. What was it?
The infamous Art J.
No. We said it.
King
Jones. No. It was another.
St. Jones.
No. We was talking like on the last part. We was gonna call ourselves something else.
You was like Wilfred or something. No, you was
no, no, that wasn't it. Whatever.
I was like Alfred.
Anyways, it's AJ. It's AJ. I don't care.
We're in front of a live audience, just so you know.
Yes, live. We're live.
AJ does not care.
Anyways, we got a special guest for you guys.
Yes, sir.
This has been long coming, highly anticipated, especially for me. I have known this man for, I think, about 2-3 years. I think 2020. Another member of Todd Capital Mastermind. Shout out my boy Chuck. This guy is heavy into real estate, deep in the game, killing it out here. Him and his partner Anthony. I got the one and only Daniel Martinez. Anyways,
No, I'm about to just say, honored to have you here, man.
Right.
Thank you for coming on the pod.
Blessings.
Blessing
Thank
us
you, Dan.
with it. We always appreciate people who actually just want to come on and bless us with the knowledge and the
gems,
wisdom, the gems, all of that. Like it's
just
always,
the presence, man. Just your presence here, man. That means the world.
Yeah.
My uncle tells me all the time, like, I'm like, Unc, you need anything? You want me to do anything? Hey, just your presence, man. Just come over. Just come through. So we appreciate you, Dan.
For sure, man.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me on and shaking it up a little bit because most podcasts are not like this. That's okay.
Yeah.
We be on.
We definitely different.
That's good, though. That's
We're
good.
definitely
That's
different.
Good. I like that.
I always want to start off the pod, man. I ask just one simple question. How we start off. If you can tell us, or do you want to ask them?
No. Who is Dan? Who is Dan Martinez or Daniel Martinez? Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? You know.
Who is?
So, go ahead. No, I've been an entrepreneur for about 6 years now. I used to be a truck driver. Now I do real estate software, podcasting, a little bit of all the above.
Right.
I like contributing back to the community because I was a product of podcasting, and we were laughing a little earlier because I was saying I don't even listen to podcasts anymore, but I'm a product of it, so I like contributing back to the system.
Yeah, I get you.
That's what's up.
Yeah, you added contribution.
That's right.
That's what I like about Nipsey. Well, regardless what you into, just remember you got something to contribute. I like that.
That's fact.
Nip, rest in peace, brother.
What I want to ask, what it like gave you this like spirit of like giving back? Like, was that motivated? What was that motivated? Where did that come from?
It's always been. I feel like everybody has something to give to everybody. Like no matter who you are, where you come from, you always have something to give to the community. And a lot of people feel they're undeserving or unknowledgeable to provide any value. And I think it's a fallacy, or it's a story. You know what I'm saying? But everybody's got some value to provide to the community, and I think it's just coming out of your shell to provide that value. And everybody's got something to learn. You can teach me something, AJ. Like everybody's got some value. So it's just coming out and knowing that you have something of value to provide and providing it.
Keep going, Dan.
Yeah, no, for sure. I often believe, I'm a believer in remaining, I guess, teachable in a sense. Like no matter how much I know, I always feel like I can like learn more. I can always learn something new every day. There's so much you can apply to your life and everything else. So it's just remaining teachable, remaining, I guess, humble about it, and knowledge is power, as they say, and to each one teach one, and it will bring us more to a better place of understanding each other, reaching goals together, just out here just elevating others and bringing others up as we elevate ourselves. So like I'm totally a believer of that. So
yeah, I always equate it to stay curious. Because a lot of people, they'll get stuck in their own way and they think that way is the only way to do things, but you just gotta stay curious, open to opportunity.
That's a gem right there.
Stay curious. Like that.
People be getting complacent and comfortable, so then they just, like, I'm good, but they still be curious. They just be too scared to get out there.
Facts.
Very true.
Facts.
But shit, we all fall victim of that sometimes. I think so. I have for sure. Like I'll be wanting to do something, but they're like, but I don't move unless God tell me to move, though. So
truly, you never just step outside of that, and how do you?
Not in a long time. Like I'll ask God before I do anything.
This was wisdom. What made you so? So what made you like transition from trucking into what you do now? Like what made you just want to make that transition?
Man, trucking's terrible.
Really? Because you don't know. Because you don't hear that. Like people don't tell you that when they're in trucking. They try to get you to actually do it. They tell you all the benefits or whatever. So I never. What's the bad things about it? Because I never heard it.
They lying to you. So I've been through every stage of trucking. From being a driver to loading the trucks to operating a trucking company. They lying to you. Trucking companies, and this is a lot of people don't know this, but most of the publicly traded companies, they operate off of a 3% margin or less. That means every dollar they make, they spend 97 cents of it.
Oh, it's a ripoff.
They spend 97 cents?
They spend 97 cents or more of every dollar they make.
Where's the real profit?
So that's only 3% gain, or not 3%, 0.3.
Yeah, that's less. That's
money, like 3 cents.
Yeah.
3 cents a dollar.
Yeah.
Most people don't equate to like, so a lot of people are like, oh, get in trucking. We're making $3,000-$4,000 a week.
Yeah.
Well, they don't tell you like insurance might be $450 a week, your truck payment might be $450 a week, your gas might be $1,200 a week.
The way gas prices is now.
Yeah, I went today before the podcast and I filled up my tank for $90. I got 400 miles, and the price was for premium. This is like the cheap gas station in my area.
Yeah.
You know, it was $6 and like 25 cents or something like that. So, and no,
Man.
6.10. I think it was like 6.10 or 6.15, somewhere around there. But you know, that's like a lot.
No, that's
for a gallon of gas. I remember when I was young in high school, gas was only 89 cents on a Circle K. On Citrus?
I don't remember, but man.
On Citrus?
But I remember it was like 99 cents when it growing up. 99 cents.
Yeah, and I remember when it went to 99 cents, and then it was one time. I don't know if it was when George Bush got in presidency, but it had jumped to like $5 at one point, and everybody's like, "Damn, this shit high as hell!" And it was up there for a little bit, but then it kind of came back down to like $2, $1.89, and then it hasn't never went back to 99 cents since.
No, of course they ain't. Hell no, they came back.
Like, and then I even heard I told you I listen to EYL a lot.
Yeah.
Ian was talking about the gallon of oil right now is sky high right now. So it's like, you know, everything's up. Everything's up. But if we're talking about real estate, because Dan is into real estate, I've been noticing some of the housing markets prices going down, but the mortgages is still up. So it's like, what's going on?
I don't know. I ain't bought out. I don't know. Well, what's the trick with it? I need to get educated because I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, everybody got to pay more money now.
Yeah, in fact, groceries, everything
so
going up.
If you think about lower income families, like they have to spend more money, but they're not receiving more money because their jobs.
No,
when's the last time you got a pay raise?
I'm supposed to be getting one next month, but I bet you it ain't gonna be nothing that sustains like as far as like everyday living when other prices is going up. I'm pretty sure it won't.
Yeah, and even me, I haven't got a pay raise since 2020. We was I'm a substitute teacher. We was getting like $135 a day, $140 a day, and then that's when we bumped up to $2. But then it still haven't gone up since. But even they didn't even want to do that. They only did that because of COVID. And even during that time, I was working in the warehouses in 21 at Amazon, and they were paying me a certain amount. And then they had added time and a half, but every hour that you did overtime, it was considered double time. So it wasn't really an overtime pay, like time and a half, you know, but it was considered double time. So me and the homie Alfonso, we was racking it up. Shout out to my boy Alfonso. My boy Alfonso, we was racking it up. We was the only one going to work because nobody was coming to work because it was COVID.
That's a lot of money, though.
And Jeff Bezos, they had this policy, right? The policy was you didn't have to, when you showed up to work, it was cool. But if you didn't show up, you wouldn't get penalized because every 9-to-5 worker, warehouse worker, when you don't show up, they be giving you a point. They give you 2 points, they give you 3, and then after a certain amount of points, they fire your ass. So
you're fired. All right. You're fired. You're fired.
this was cool, so everybody wasn't coming, bro. I swear. It would be me and my boy Alfonso till late at night just working because we was trying to get it. And nobody would show up to work. And it was just like, damn, man, that was my boy, man. We had some good talks and just fun times. Shout out to Gabriel too, man. That's my boy too.
Now back to you and your transition from being trucking to what you do now.
Yeah.
I used to, and this is where like I used to work. I used to work a lot of hours when I was truck driving. I used to work like 50 to 60 hours a week, even to the point where I was when I worked on the docks. I was working. They had us on 412s. I'm coming on a fifth day, work another 12, 5 12s in a row. It was crazy.
Yep. That's what I'm saying. Like long hours, dude.
Would you like
people do it
going like different states like that kind of like?
No, this is. I mean, when I was doing this is when I was when I worked for the company I used to work with.
Okay.
I used to be loading the docks, and I used to work 1 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Cool.
4 days a week.
1 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Yeah.
That's a shift right there.
That's the shifts, yeah. And then
Graveyard guys, that's graveyard shift. I don't know if people know about it, but some people don't know about that graveyard, man. That graveyard shift is different.
I mean, when you were in the shipping industry, you always work late. You always work nights. Always work nights, because that's when the drivers would pick up freight in the afternoons, and then all the dock workers were loading in the night, and then drivers come in, and that was just the way it's been for a long time.
Yeah, and then and for those warehouse workers, they the ones who doing the unloading and loading up. Like I used to do that, man. Yeah, for sure. Being them.
So I did that for years. I mean, I started doing that when I was 21. So I did that until I was 25-ish. No, I did that when I was 18, 19 years old. I started loading trucks as a forklift operator, and then I got into the company I got in. They're like, "Oh, you want to be a truck driver? We'll give you like a $5 raise." I'm like, yeah, let's go. Let's go. I was just trying to make it. I don't know what I wanted to do.
Yeah, just trying to make that money.
Yeah. Then you got the forklift certification.
Yeah, for sure.
I used to hate when every time you switch warehouse, they make you get a new one. It's like, man, come on, man.
My job never cared. Like, if you had experience, they didn't check.
No, yeah, just get on.
They just trying to get some work.
That's Snyder. You know how to drive it? Go ahead.
Show me how to drive it, and then you good. That's your test.
Right. They don't care.
Those are good days, man.
So like, so what made you get out of that? Like, what happened? I had to get out. So I got out of, when I had my company. I made like $550,000 my second year of trucking, but I lost $100,000. That's a lot of money to lose.
You was in ownership though, right? At that time,
I was in ownership. Yeah, I was in ownership. I had 5 trucks working under me.
Okay,
I had like 6 drivers.
Why do you have so many drivers if you only have 5 trucks? Like different shifts, like they would switch up.
I would losing drivers left and right. So
the more you can have on staff, the better.
Yeah, I was losing drivers left and right. I had one that was like my fill-in person. It was just drivers. I went through so many drivers. I probably went through 30 to 40 drivers in 2 years.
Yeah, I remember Chuck was having that problem too about the drivers. Like, why is this? I told him
when he was going through that. I told him, like, dude, trucking is terrible, because I had just gotten out of it and he was getting into it. I'm like, don't do it. Right. Like, you have to come in cash heavy, and like trucking is good if you got cash, because it's a very, very expensive business. Very expensive
because of the maintenance, the gas, and everything else that we've been kind of talking about.
100%, man. I got my biggest mechanic bill was $7,000.
Yeah, that's a lot. Well, yeah, I already know auto.
God, no.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot. No. So you basically got a lot of overhead as a trucking operating system. What system did you use, like, as far as like attracting business? You know, maybe somebody want to get into trucking. I don't know.
So I didn't like trucking as a whole, because you're capped out. Like, you can only do as much work as your one truck could carry, as your one driver was available to, as your equipment was available. You're limited based off of whatever you had, and that was it.
Yeah.
And, why I really switched was because I wanted to get into digital business. When I saw Chris Johnson and Chuck and Charles them blow up, I saw them blow up using digital products. I'm like, okay, I have to switch into digital products, because there's nothing stopping me from scaling.
Yeah, absolutely nothing. Like, it's literally digital is where it's at. I ain't gonna lie, because it's like infinity. Like, as many people that has access to a phone,
they're your customer
to your business. You know, all they got to do is find you at that point. So, you know, that's huge. As far as being able to scale as much as you want, bringing in as much income and revenue. So hell yeah. But I get what you're saying. Trucking is limited because, one, you only have one driver, and they have to spend that time going to Texas or
whatever. I used to make the joke that the stars have to align for you to get paid in trucking.
Yeah.
Because think about it. Really think about it. First, you got to have a driver. You got to have equipment. Then you got to actually get the load, go pick it up, then warehousing. You got to get there before warehouse closes.
Mm-hmm.
Pick up, make it to your destination safely without getting in an accident. Then deliver, unload, make sure they were open, and then you would get paid. And it was on a net 30.
And then don't you have like time limits too, where you got to get to?
Oh yeah, then you got the regulation. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. We got regulation too.
What was that big the strike about where everybody was along the side with the trucks? They weren't moving. Like, what was that?
There's been a lot of regulation, and I think once the government steps in, they try and fix problems. They usually make it worse, and I think everything they touch turns into fucking trash.
Yeah, sounds like the government to me.
What was the drivers like mad about? Like, were they just trying to get more money? Like,
you talking about UPS?
I don't know if it was UPS, but
this isn't like last year, the last 12 months.
The last couple of years, it was at one point drivers weren't driving, like they were just staying on the side of the roads, and I would see it on the news. But
that was UPS. UPS is a union. So just like with the writer strike we have going on right now with the directors and the writers, and the movie actors, same thing. They weren't. They have to renew their agreement with that company because essentially they work for UPS, but they're under the union, so they have to pay dues and stuff like that. So the union helps protect the workers and their pay. So essentially that time came up where they're able to renegotiate their pay, and now they're paying, I think, an extra $200 million a year back to their employees. And that comes up with the negotiation. And same thing with the writer strike too. They're able to renegotiate all of their contracts.
Well, the writers are concerned about AI, and AI taking a lot of their jobs by just freaking ideas and just, you know where it's going. The tech is, they're writing the plays for them. Like we were talking about theater, like an AI can write a theater play now. And usually that used to go back to people like Shakespeare. Shakespeare. Who else was a good writer back then? Do I know any other writers? Mozart. Was Da Vinci a writer? I think he was a playwright. Was Da Vinci a playwright?
He was an inventor.
He was an inventor. Who else was a playwright? I know a lot of musicians, like Strauss and all them, Debussy, but I don't know too many playwrights. Anyways, sorry about that, guys. But yeah, AI is taking over. Like, there's none of that no more. You know what I mean? Like, now it's all tech based. All you gotta do is give it the idea. We talk about this in the mastermind. You just giving it idea, and it comes back to you, and it writes it out. Everything. So, the writers, they're not playing. Truck drivers, I guess they're not playing either. But I want to know, like, how much were the truck drivers getting paid? Like, you know what I mean? Because I don't know how much a truck driver makes. I know you go to get your CBL or your CDL, or what is it? What is it called? The license?
CDL license. It's the commercial driver's license.
CDL license. But do they get paid hourly? Do they get paid or how many the transfer? Like,
it depends on your employer, but it's a rough business because if you're not working for a big company, it's hard. It's really, really hard because, like, me as my own company, it was hard to pay employees what I could because I'm only can pay what off the load. So I was paying based off the load, and the rates would go up and down just like the stock market. And you can have dead areas where you have to drive out. So like places like Florida and California, in the trucking space, they're like their own island just because there's a lot of freight going into Florida and California, but not a lot of freight coming out. So it creates little pockets of dead areas where you might have to drive to Phoenix if you're in California. You might have to drive to Vegas. If you're in Florida, you might have to drive to Georgia or Susquehanna or Valdosta just to get out of Florida to get a load, just because all the commerce was coming in, but not enough coming out. So there's an ebb and flow of business.
So some places are producing and some are not. So Cali is not one of those export places. Like
there's export, but there's more import than export. That's the difference.
Dang, that's crazy. And then you said it's a little pocket, so that's crazy. I see why they building all these warehouses in the IE. Anybody know the IE? San Bernardino, Rialto, where else? Colton, Riverside, Fontana. They are building warehouses like crazy. Like warehouses are popping up everywhere. So I don't know. Maybe they're trying to get more into export, but if you think about Amazon, what was we doing?
I hated Amazon. I don't know.
You're picking and packing.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, that was not. Yeah, that was just not my. That was not my thing at all.
I fuck with Amazon.
That's good.
That's my old boss, Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos. What's up, Jeff?
Excuse him.
It's my birthday soon, guys. I didn't even tell them. Hey,
that doesn't give you any excuse in the world.
Oh my gosh, man.
Anyways, Amazon, it is almost your birthday.
Oh man, we gotta have a pod where we talk about Amazon.
No, we don't.
Yes.
No, awesome. You can have your own side podcast episode yourself.
Enjoy me, partner. My partner ain't gonna get it. All right, go ahead. Keep going.
Anyways, so you transition from, sorry to talk about trucking so long, but.
Trucking is dope.
Yeah, but there's so much other
according
stuff
to Dan, it's not good because it's not a moneymaker, right?
Too many expenses.
Too many expenses. So if you are trying to get in trucking, you better have a huge, high, what's the word I'm looking for? A lot of
capital. So I always recommend if you're getting into trucking, if you're going on the trucking side, come at least with 3 to 5 trucks, just because you have the ability to bring in more cash flow and that will help support everything else. If you're coming into other sectors, I recommend other sectors than everything else, but dispatching, brokering.
That would probably be more lucrative, like the brokering and stuff.
It's got its own pains, but in my opinion, they're better. But trucking itself is terrible. From the truck driver and truck company owner.
Have you seen the flying cars yet?
No.
They'll have flying trucks one day.
They
already do.
They ain't got
it's airplanes.
They're not airplanes. They're not trucks.
Airbus. Y'all ain't seen the Airbus? Look it up.
Yeah, be quiet.
Look it up.
Lord Jesus. I am trying to get you to talk about your transition to real estate. That's what I am trying to get you to talk about.
So that was out of necessity. So as we told you, my experience with trucking was not that good. I was actually losing money and I had to pivot. So I think pivoting in business is okay and understandable, and it happens. Sometimes people got to go back to the job. I get it. It happens. Entrepreneurship is fucking difficult. It's difficult. So sometimes you got to adapt and pivot. So I pivoted into real estate, and I started a software business after that. So it's kind of I just had to pivot, and I had a successful pivot. Not everybody gets a successful pivot, but sometimes you get washed out, and you got to restart the job again and rebuild.
What made you choose real estate?
I mean, I was listening to a lot of podcasts on YouTube at the time when I was driving.
Okay.
So that's why I said that's where the product of podcasting comes in, because you can learn everything on YouTube, literally everything on YouTube, if you just got to find the right people. So a lot of people, they're like, oh, I watch Mr. Beast. And I'm like, Mr. Beast is cool. It's entertainment. It's cool. There's people out there teaching game for free on YouTube.
Yeah. Shout out Bruce, man. Bruce, new skills, new you, man. I watch his YouTube channel. I've seen a few dance podcast interviews. So yeah, there's definitely people out there just giving the game, man, and you can learn a lot, man. You just gotta apply yourself.
So was it hard at first Like doing real estate, like
Yeah, it's still hard.
What would you say is the hardest part about real estate? Because I just recently became a realtor. Shout out to me!
yes.
That was not a custom sound effect.
I try to tell him. I try to tell him.
We gotta clip it up.
No, we gotta delete.
No, we gotta clip it up. But my mom, she does real estate too, and you know, I watch her. You know, she's like my mentor. And what's the hard parts for you? Because I'm just getting in, you know, and I'm, you know, meeting clients and having to go see houses. But, you know, I know you're doing something different. Like you're going to see land. You mostly deal with land. But what's the hard parts for you? Like,
so the hardest part about real estate is the timelines to get paid, and lead generation. I think those are the two hardest parts about real estate. Then there's like financing, but there's a lot of things that make real estate hard. But coming from the agent side, a lot of agents struggle with lead generation. Mm-hmm. A lot of agents struggle with lead flow and conversions. So our network. But it's just, I think the biggest thing is knowledge and consistency and waiting. Like business and real estate you got to survive long enough to get paid. So like we went through, even last year, we went through a whole couple months without getting paid. So like, how long can you do that? I don't know. Depends on you as an individual and what you got going on.
Exactly. And that's that's one thing I think about.
No, that's
where business is like starting your own. It's like, how much can you afford to, like, you know,
like wait until your next payday?
Because it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And pretty sure, like, you know, you ain't even probably gonna start off you're getting paid at first. You probably not. Maybe you're gonna meet a quota. You're gonna have to grow into meeting a certain amount of funds that you need to sustain you. You know what I'm saying? So
especially for entrepreneurship, like you said, like we didn't start making money on the pod until like kind of recently. You know, like we were trying to figure out ways to generate revenue. And then we started coming up with the shirts, you know, the streaming that helped a little bit. Like we were seeing money early on because of streaming, but it wasn't a lot of money. And then like we was like, man, we trying to figure out different ways to bring in revenue. So we came up with the shirts, you know, that way people can rep. You know, I see you got the Hivemind shirt on, like, you know, they can rep your band and like, you know, it can be a part of the movement that you got going on. But I did like what Dan said about like entrepreneurs, it has to make it to the next payday. Like some people, like the bills are coming. You know what I mean? The bills are coming. They don't stop. They don't stop. And they're monthly, they're reoccurring. So if you're an entrepreneur, your income may fluctuate. So lead generation and all that Dan is talking about is huge, because as an entrepreneur, I keep that business flowing. Just like big businesses, Amazon, they got to keep that business flowing.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, not to cut you off, it's like Disney. You know, they're still feeling the effects of COVID. So like they lost billions. You know what I'm saying?
That's why their stock is down.
That's why that's why they've had to let a lot of people go. A lot of people have lost their job. They have to let a lot of people go.
And that's to cut the margins down.
Exactly. You see, like, so it's with running your business, you can lose it
like that.
You know what it is. So,
and a lot of people love Disney,
and most businesses that actually during COVID, I felt like they didn't recover. They didn't recover. Some people really lost their businesses.
Yeah, a lot of African American businesses too, man. Dang.
So one thing I'll say too is that it doesn't get easier the bigger you get, because you have employees. So that's why the layoffs come, because you have that revolving payroll. Payroll's always there, and it only gets bigger. So like people think from the individual level, like, hey, I got my internet bill, my car note, I got gas to pay. But then you got to think, as a business owner, you might have a leasing, you might have an office to pay, you might have payroll to pay. You might have insurance to pay, and that don't stop just because you need to make money.
Yeah, man, because
and you wonder why they don't give the pay raises, because it's like, I got to keep this low just in case. Like,
and that's tough.
God damn, don't kill me. Craig, what you doing? Nothing. Day. Huh? Is this your cousin? Yeah, it's my cousin. Good. Then you fired. Who, me? Yeah, you. I'm fired? And wrote you fired too. You fired.
Why you gonna fire me for, Picky?
Shut up! Shut up! You better keep your goddamn mouth shut!
Bobby Wallman.
Oh, I heard that shit. Say it again. Say it again. Shit.
Case, like,
and that's tough. You know what I'm saying? I feel like being in that position is a very tough thing because, you know, basically you got people under you, like their lives are in your hand.
You're responsible for them.
Responsible, their livelihood, their families, how they, you know what I'm saying? Like, you control of that, so you got to keep this afloat for all that.
For everybody.
That's a lot of pressure. I don't know, man.
Well, that's, you know, I always goes, oh my God, you know, he give you that capacity, you know what I mean? Like, he bless you for a reason. It's just like, dang, you know, like, okay, God, you giving me all these resources, this income, and you giving me a way to lead my people to their goals and whatever they trying to do. Like, you know, how can I help lead? Like, as a business owner, you're really a leader. You are a leader, and you're leading people, and you know, it's responsibility. And I was thinking about this earlier, guys. I was like, why do people hate jobs so much? A job is your duty. It's your responsibility. That's my duty. That's my job. But people hate jobs. Like, it's not a bad thing to have responsibilities. It makes you better. It gives you a sense of honor. Like, if you don't got a job, man, I've been in times where I got a job.
I've been there too. I was so in and out of jobs when getting out of college.
I worked so many different jobs. I've been a busser. I've been a security guard, agent. I had a suit. But there's been times where I didn't have a job, and you know, it's like, damn, I ain't got no way to provide.
Yeah. Well, I want you to answer that question first. Dan, what do you think is the problem with people not liking jobs?
A lot of. I mean, I've been self-employed for a long time, about 6 years now, and if you ain't got a job, your parents look at it like, "What are you doing with your life?" like 100%, you get heat from a lot of different sides. And then the other thing too is, like, if you got kids, you got a wife, you got family to feed, like, they're looking at you too.
Like, what's going on
from that? What's going on too? So, like, there's a lot of sacrifices that come from everybody involved when you are trying to build a business. And like I said, I don't recommend it to everybody. It's hard. It's not easy. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of work. It takes 5 to 10 years to succeed. Like, if you can't do this thing for 5 to 10 years, don't start it.
Yeah,
that's
just being honest.
No, you real.
No, that's real
for sure.
You got to have longevity. You got to have who you marry is going to determine if you can make it or not. I mean, if the person you marry starts putting pressure on you, you ain't going to make it. As much as you have the passion and the ability to do it, if you got pressure coming in from the home side, not just from the public side, you're not going to make it.
Yeah.
I can see how that definitely plays a factor, because, you know, your spouse has a lot to do with, you know, your mood, and, you know, whether you know, when you with someone, you know, you're tied to them. So, like, if they kind of feeling a certain way, you're like, why are you feeling like that? You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to feel your pain, you know, and you going to feel mine. And it's like, okay, if we're always on the downside, then how can we come up? We're always going to be feeling bad. We're not going to be progressing, or we might not be making the certain moves that we should make. But if we're on the up and up, and you're feeding into me and I'm feeding into you, and we're giving to each other, then we're literally lifting each other up to our goals, to our success, coming together as one. You know, so that partner is important. Because if you get someone who's like kind of just dumping on you all the time, dude,
Or
like,
taking.
yeah, or caking, like that's a lot. Like you're gonna have to be really strong to give to that person. But if it's only, that's why it really can't be one sided. So I don't know. Just I guess choose wisely. I guess I don't know.
Well, I would say to answer your first question, I think I don't think there's a problem with jobs. I think it all depends on what job really kind of works for you. I don't think people have. I think certain people have problem with not with responsibility per se. I think they do have that problem. I think some people have a problem with adulting. Sometimes just doing what you got to do. Like sometimes
Authority too.
And that too. They have a problem, but it's like everyone follows. There's nowhere in this world where somebody is not above you, like a leader somewhere.
Yeah.
Like as an American, we have leaders. Like period. Like so it's not. You have if not, you have a mother and father.
Biden.
You have older guidance. You know your guidance of your mother and father. Like you're always under somebody, right? Like
Yes, sir.
and I feel like you some people, I get it. You know, it sounds good in your head. You want to be your own boss. You want to, be able to dictate what you do and when you go in, clock out, how you make your money. You want to be that freedom. But if you lack responsibility, just on one example, like you said, like no matter if you work in a 9 to 5 is easy because it don't matter if you lazy, you ain't doing it 100%. You're getting money for the time that you're there. I assume when me having this business and further things in yours, when you're in the entrepreneur thing, it's all about the work you put in yourself. If you're not putting in that work, you're not getting paid so an hour. You're getting paid on the work that you do.
Yeah, the work that you bring in.
And the
you get paid on your
longevity.
kills, basically.
So if you being lazy, you ain't getting paid.
That's crazy.
That's the difference. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like the lack of responsibility that you take, the work ethic, the focus, the accountability is what things like that is what people lack and what they hate. I don't think it's the more so jobs itself, because I feel like to say people hate jobs is to say people don't like making money, and I feel like everyone loves making money. It's a matter of just what
the responsibility,
you feel like what works for you to make that money, and most people don't want to work take those initiatives to work for $1.
Yeah, and a lot of the jobs that are available aren't really like the best jobs that you would want to do. Most jobs are like, general labor
for sure.
So if you're not really into that, like, you're not gonna want to be there.
No. I mean, I go to a job that I don't always want to be at right now. I know literally things I would rather be one is real. I
love my job.
Like,
I'm sorry, I do. My kids be the best.
I never said I didn't love it. I just said sometimes I don't want to go.
Yeah.
Thank you so thank you. I just real long. It's like it's
like having kids you don't want to see.
Yeah, it could be that, or it could be stuff that I'm going through personally that affects my mentee to where I can't put the effort that my students need for me to do it. So it could be a lot. It can be a lot of things where like I don't feel like being there all the time. Just keep it a buck. So I much rather in my mind sometimes think I could be doing art at this time. I could be creating and designing things. I can be working on other endeavors, learning new things that I'm actually passionate about than being here. I'm not here. My body is here, but my mind isn't. So that is a normal thing. But the thing is, I have to do what I got to do until I can. The point is to at least should be a plan is to when you work these 9 to 5s, if you really hate it. If you really hate a job, then use that money to invest in yourself to things that you want to do on the side. So that way, when you hopefully how much you put on the side in your free time and you put in that, you can either leave that job or maybe only work part-time with and stuff like that, and you don't have to be there that often, but it takes that work.
That initial effort, that sacrifice of putting in that time, and you know, maybe it's not going out on the weekend, maybe it's not spending so much money on XYZ and investing that money. And Dan, I don't even think Dan has a job as a working for anyone. So, we had Brandy on, and she doesn't work a job neither, and she does her thing. I mean, you have a job, but it's not like working for another person, like another company. It's your own company. Dan, you don't work for anybody, do you? Well, I know you.
I haven't worked for anybody in almost 6 years.
Hold on, man. I just want to listen. I admire you. I just want to give you a round of applause, real quick, man.
Don't let it go over your head.
That is I feel like in these times, like that is a blessing, man, to be able to do that. Like, let's go. What does doing that, like, this is how this transition. With that, it's kind of a two-part question. What kind of freedom does that give you when you don't have to exactly go to a 9-to-5? And how does that fit into your time with your family?
Good question. It wasn't always like this. It's gotten better lately. But I still work. Like, people always make the joke, like, oh, you'll start an entrepreneur job to work less. And I'm like, well, eventually, but not really. It's always great working more. So instead of working 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, 12 hours a day, now it's maybe 10 hours a day for 6 days a week, or maybe 7 days a week. There's not really to determine what that looks like in your individual business, because everybody's got to make sacrifices, especially when you're starting out. So like, I still work hard, but I definitely have some flexibility now. And it's because you automate with employees and systems. So one, you got to figure out how to make your dollar, and two, how do you outsource and still create more dollars without you having to physically work for it? So
challenge.
That's the challenge.
Go ahead. Keep going. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And then, so what I'll say is that I have flexibility. The whole reason why I started this was when my wife got pregnant. I was like, I wanted to be there for my kid, that my dad wasn't there for me. So my dad was a hard worker. He was a provider, and he would literally work 8-9 hours a day, and then he would commute 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours a day. So he'd literally wake up early, go work, come back, eat dinner, and go to sleep. And that was my life with my dad for 20 years, and he did that for 30 years with all my brothers. So like, it's not that my dad wasn't there, it's just he was working, providing, because I went to a private school. So for me, I was like, I want to create a different life with my children. And I really didn't know what I wanted to do, or how I wanted to do it, or when I wanted to do it. So my wife was like, I'm pregnant. I'm like, okay, it's go time. Now's the time to create the opportunity. I have 9 months while she's pregnant. Let me do everything I can to create the life I want forever. It may be uncomfortable for a couple of years, but let me do this right now, because now is the time to operate. So I worked 6 days a week for a whole year. I took 2 weeks off vacation, 4 weeks of paternity leave, and I quit. And I haven't worked for anybody since. And it's been about six. My daughter turned 6 December, so it'd be almost 6 years since I've done that. But flexibility, I pick up my daughter from school every day. I'm not a morning person. I do a lot of work at night. I'm here today. My kids are asleep. This is why this time works better for me. I kind of coordinate my schedule however I want to, and it's flexible now, but it wasn't always like that.
How much
kind of just made it work for you?
Yeah. How much because not actually, to pivot that about your family, I remember we talked about the support, of what kind of a partner you have.
Before you go into that, because I definitely want to go into the family aspect, because it sounds like that's core of who Dan is. Like, he's very family oriented. Like, just the fact that he did so much to be there for his family says a lot about his values and what he values. You know what I mean? Like, because if I'm at a job and I'm working and I see my baby's pregnant, like, I'm doing everything I can to, to make sure I'm there for them. And you sound like you want to be there, not just financially, but in your presence. You know what I mean? Like, you want your babies to know who you are from birth to, as long as they live. So my question is, I
was going to say real quick, one of my best experiences was I took care of my daughters when they were newborns at night. So that's like my best like fatherhood moments. Even now is I still took care of them that night. But go ahead. Sorry.
No, that's awesome.
That's
dude.
awesome.
That's awesome. I love that. That's what it is. That's what it is, man. That's the goals. Like, you want to be there with your kids at those special moments and be there for them. I always watch my frat brothers, and when they're with their kids and they're at their soccer games or gymnastics, like, that's dope. Like, why wouldn't you want to do that? And I don't understand why so many fathers bounce, because, like, nigga, you missed the good shit. But anyways, my question is, like, so how did you, like, can you give us like your top 3 tips or top 3 tips on how someone can transition from not entrepreneur, but a 9-to-5 job to entrepreneurship?
It's going to be different for everybody because everybody has their God-given gift that they were given. So I think number one is finding out what that is and then how to monetize that. So I think that's number one, and probably number 2 is like find out what your gift is, find out what you love to do and monetize that. And then find out 3 is find a way to keep it going where it doesn't require all of your time. And I think that's number 3. But I think everybody has a gift and it's different for different people. I didn't find mine until I started business. I was telling somebody this yesterday where when I went to truck driving school, my trainer, he was like, "What are you doing here?" And I'm like, "Dude, I'm trying to be a truck driver." He's like, No. What are you doing here? It's like, you're too smart to be a truck driver. Like, all these other guys that come in, they're truck drivers. You're not a truck driver. So like, he saw that potential in me before even I did, So I think it's kind of figuring out what you're strong. And this is where I think you got to dabble a little bit. You got to hustle and do a couple different things to figure out what you're good at and what your passion is, and then try and find a way to dig into that niche to create value for you. That's my little tidbit on that part.
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure. Yeah.
So 1 would be find out what you're good at. 2,
make money with it. Yeah,
try to find out a way to monetize it. 2 would be to dabble around. Just if you don't know what you like, get what you were talking about earlier, your curiosity, and figuring out, just getting out there, exploring. Some people just don't explore because they're too afraid, like literally. So getting out there, and then 3 will be what? Just
find a way to scale it.
Oh, find a way to scale. Oh, dang. Okay, now we're talking business.
and like even with Brandy, I think she even does a couple of hustles with her even currently. Yeah. But she found her little niche, she dug in, and now she's self-employed. And she's got multiple cars working for her. So everybody's going to have that different skill set. And it might be the skill set develops over time too. So like, I think you have to always be, not necessarily be practicing and more diverse, but I think if you find an idea that creates a lot of money, dig in.
Yeah.
Because that idea could take you like a lot. I think the other problem too is a lot of people they got too much stuff going on and they're never excellent at one thing. So I think once you find out what that one thing is, dig in deep, because that one thing could take you to a millionaire.
Yeah.
2 million, 3 million, 4 million, 500 billion. Shout out to Billy. That's my boy.
Yeah.
That's a great answer, man. But go ahead, Ty. I'm sorry. I was just thinking. I'm still thinking about what he just told me. Like, Dan is a wealth of knowledge, guys. He's done like a few presentations in the mastermind, and like when it comes to like land, real estate, and just networking and building stuff. Like, this guy is a specialist. Like, he's an expert, you know. And I'm not going to tell them how much money you've made, but Dan has expressed some numbers to us in the mastermind. You be like, damn.
Oh gosh.
So I heard something behind me. So my wife snuck in behind me. So she's listening to me. So she's enjoying the conversation.
Oh, nice. Good. Yeah. Wifey approves. We're good.
Yeah, we're good. We're making some progress.
Right. Yeah. Oh, but that's what I wanted to talk about. You said one thing, practice. I don't think people practice enough. They're not in the dojo doing the work enough. You know what I mean? And honing in on your craft and developing your skills and talent. That's where you make the money. That's where you find the monetization. Like, people want someone who does good. Like, they don't want the crappy shit. Like, they want stuff that's good and quality. And me and Tyler, we've strived since the beginning of this podcast to get better every time, whether it's our content, whether it's our screen. Like, even at the beginning, I was like, okay, the lighting's not right. I can see a little bit of thing. Let me try to fix it. Like, it's constant, you know. You got to always wake up and try to do better every day. And sometimes you fall short, and that's okay. But give yourself grace to keep going. Give yourself grace to know that, okay, I made a mistake, but let me learn from it and try to do better. Okay, I see that. I tell them all the time, like, make your little adjustments. You know what I mean? And you keep pivoting, keep detailing, and man, by the time you know it, you be like, damn, people will tell you your shit is good. You're like, damn, okay. Oh, okay, it is getting kind of better. Like, you know? So hone in, guys.
Yeah, a lot of people want the results of success, but it's just you got to do it long enough, and that actually builds the muscle to get you success.
And even when you're down, that muscle memory is going to kick back into place, and you're like, okay, I'm right back into it. I'm right back into the swing of things. Whether that's working out, whether that's business, whether that's relationships, you know, you always kick back into gear from what you know. And a lot of people, they don't train themselves. You have to train yourself. I had to train myself to get up at 5 or 6 in the morning. I had to train myself to be in front of people and be comfortable with myself speaking. Even when they're looking at me, I'm like, oh shit, like, why y'all looking at me? Why y'all looking at me? I'm sorry, guys, but you get what I'm saying. Like,
you're the one that put yourself in that position.
Yes. And whatever that goal is, entrepreneurship, it doesn't matter. Oh, a relationship, like, you have to build yourself, and like that's just the game of life right there, man. Like, I want people to understand and realize, like, once you say you want that, like, that's that moment that it's time to go to work. It's time to go to work. So go ahead, put in that work, man.
I mean, the way I can put it as simple as you got to respect the process.
Yep.
That's as simple as I can put that. Just
dang, that's a huge word. I love that.
You know what I'm saying? You respect the process, then it will get back to you. Mm-hmm. You only get out of it what you put in. So that's that's my motto of it all. It don't magically come. And yes, like to your point, Dan, we live in this, I call it a microwave type of process of society where people just want to press 1 minute or 1 minute cook rice and it's just there. Yeah. Like, but man, that like
instant gratification.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way.
It don't.
You know what I'm saying?
Sorry.
That just
hitting the 1 year button, you know?
Yeah. 1 year. You know what I'm saying? Don't overcook it.
Oh my god.
Oh man. Oh, but yes.